Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where police officers physically assaulted a woman over a McDonald's sandwich by punching her in the face multiple times. On January 16, 2023, a woman named Latinka Hancock was at the local McDonald's where she ordered some food from the drive-thru, but later found that she'd gotten an incorrect meal. To be specific, Miss Hancock had paid extra for an additional slice of cheese in her sandwich, but it was missing. Naturally, Miss Hancock walked inside the McDonald's with the meal and the receipt, asking for her order to be fixed. In response, the manager instructed an employee to make the sandwich correctly and add the extra slice of cheese that Miss Hancock had paid for. From there, things began to escalate when the employee refused to make the sandwich until Miss Hancock paid for the extra cheese again. After some disagreements, Miss Hancock was refunded for the order and police were called to remove her from the establishment. Sergeant Todd Stanley and Officer Tim Zellers of the Butler Township Police Department responded to the scene, and Miss Hancock explained the entire ordeal to them.
Hi, did you have a bad day inside?
No, sir. I went through the drive-thru earlier.
Okay.
She refused to take my dollar to give me 30 cents after I paid it for extra cheese.
Okay.
There was a young lady who was very nice, by the way, before I got introduced to this lady in the burgundy.
Okay.
She asked the lady in the burgundy shirt to remake my sandwich. She comes up to the desk, wanted me to pay her another 30 cents. So 49 plus 30 plus 30. For what when I'm not even getting enough pieces of cheese. You only put one on here when I already paid the 49 cents for the extra piece of cheese. So now you're charging me 60 cents more. So then she got an attitude because I asked her for a refund and called the police because she didn't want to give me back my money. And I told them I'm in a black truck and I'm waiting. Okay. She finally gave me the refund literally 8 seconds before I got in the car and started it up. The problem was all I wanted was to be remade with an extra piece of cheese.
I completely
She started screaming at me, and I'm just like, well, ma'am, she explained it to you. Why won't you go make it? Well, you need to pay me 30 cents. I said, the lady that just came and got the paper already took the 30 cents on top of the 49. Why would I give another 30 cents, which makes it 60 plus 49 cents?
So they've made you whole?
No.
They haven't made you whole?
Well, I mean, yeah, she gave me my money back, so I'm gonna go somewhere else. But
okay.
The problem was she should have just remade it like the lady asked her. I came all the way back here to get my sandwich. Obviously, I wanted to go home with it. I didn't understand where she got confused at after the lady already said, yeah, just go ahead and remake it, put a piece of cheese in the middle. She started getting all extra, wanting me to pay her again. No, ma'am, it doesn't work like that. I paid now 3 times for only one piece of cheese that I still didn't even get.
Okay.
So she gave me a refund. I'm leaving. She started screaming at me, telling me to have a good day and not to come back here. And I said, I won't.
So you didn't say anything. You was a complete angel.
I know.
I'm getting information. You're getting disorderly in the store.
Did.
Okay. All right.
I did.
So here's what's going to happen. You've been made whole, right? You got your money back.
I'm leaving. You pulled up. I didn't want you to have to chase me down
here's
the
what we're
street.
going to do. They want you trespass. They don't.
Who cares?
Just listen. I know. It doesn't mean anything.
It's a McDonald's.
They don't want
can't
you.
Even
There's
do
one
it
on
right.
every corner.
Customers are right. Thank you.
Okay.
As seen in the footage, Officer Zellers stated that Miss Hancock had been reported by the McDonald's store for disorderly behavior. When questioned about the incident, Miss Hancock acknowledged that her behavior might have been inappropriate, but explained that the employee had mistreated her, so it was just a reaction to that. Furthermore, Officer Zellers stated that the McDonald's store had also requested to have her trespassed. After this, Officer Zellers questioned Miss Hancock about her vehicle, asking whether the license plate would come back to her information. But since that wasn't the case, Officer Zellers demanded Miss Hancock for her details. This included either her driver's license number or name and date of birth. However, Miss Hancock refused to identify herself and wished not to give out her information. In response, Officer Zellers stated that Miss Hancock was going to make the situation more difficult than it had to be, and indirectly threatened her with taking her to jail, which escalated the situation even further. Eventually, Miss Hancock did provide the officers with her last name, but she nonetheless appeared to be very agitated by the ordeal.
I won't come back.
Does this car come back to you?
No, it does not.
Okay, can I get a driver's license number or something from you, or name and date of birth?
I don't have one.
Well, I'm going to issue a trespass notice, and I have to fill out a piece of paper.
I can care less.
Okay,
What you're
I
gonna
just
do.
need some information.
No.
But I
You gave a
do.
description. You can use that, but no, sir.
So I'm filling out a paper.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Fill it out.
It's going to have your information on it so that you can't come back on the property.
Who wants to? It's a McDonald's.
I understand
like you said,
that,
there's one
but
over
I have to
there.
serve you
I'm
with a
not-
piece of
no, I'm
paper.
not about to give you my info. Sorry.
You are,
I just
because
don't
it's a
come back
crime
here.
if you don't.
No, it's
Because you're
not.
trespassing.
The crime is her being nasty and won't make my sandwich the way I paid for it. It's my money.
Okay.
That's nasty.
You're going to make it more difficult than it has to be.
If you arrest me, I promise you're going to have a problem.
I won't have a problem.
Yes, you will.
No.
No.
I
No.
Ma'am,
Not over a
we're just
sandwich.
trying to identify
Not
you to
over
give you a piece of
sandwich.
paper.
Deep.
All I wanted to-
Okay, that's it. You have to identify
What?
yourself.
So many McDonald's out here.
Because
For
we
what?
we've already explained
She
that to
was
you.
the rude ass
Ma'am,
bitch.
ma'am, stop,
Take it up to another level.
stop,
Take it up to another
Bring
level.
yours down.
Stop.
'Cause I'm done.
Fine.
Stop.
I'm going to fill out a piece of paper.
that's
For
it.
what? Over a sandwich that she
Criminal,
refused to
are
make?
you going to stop and listen or are
Who's
you
going
going
to
to
go in
holler?
there and make her remake
If
my
you don't
sandwich?
stop,
Nobody.
If you don't stop, you're going to end up going to
Fine.
jail. Stop.
Hancock, Hancock, write it down so I
Calm
can go.
down.
No, because you're not about to act like
No,
that over a
stop.
sandwich she didn't make right.
Stop. You don't need to go to jail over this.
Exactly.
Okay, so
That's
calm
what I'm
down.
saying. Like over a
You're making,
sandwich.
you're making us your enemy.
I'm ready. I gave you my info.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I said my
Calm
last name.
down.
Damn.
Even though Ms. Hancock provided the officers with her last name, she was apparently required to give a little more information, including her first name and date of birth, since Officer Zellers was looking to write a criminal trespass notice against her. At that point, Ms. Hancock appeared to find the confrontation with the officers rather unnecessary and refused to provide them with any more information. To this, Officer Zellers told Ms. Hancock that she would be going to jail for failure to identify.
Over a burger that she didn't even make right.
Miss-
That I traveled way far
Are you
for.
going to listen to me? What's your first name? The easiest thing to do is just give us your
For
info.
what?
We
Over
give
a
a trust.
sandwich.
We give you a piece of paper
For
and you
what?
don't come
I
back.
don't. No,
Then you're free
you
to
told me I'm
leave.
trespassed, so I'm not coming back.
But we have to
That's
serve you
my
with a
free
criminal
will.
trespass notice.
No, you don't.
Yes, by law
No,
we do.
you just want
okay,
to
then we're
because
going
she
to
called.
then we're going to arrest
No,
you.
you're
We're
not.
going to identify.
No, you're
then
not.
identify yourself.
No.
Yes.
For what? Over a
Ma'am,
sandwich?
Stop.
She didn't identify herself.
yourself or we'll have to arrest you. Now stop.
In Ohio, there are 3 statutes that address conduct that is considered criminal trespass. While each statute addresses specific circumstances, they generally prohibit entering or staying on another person's property without permission. Other than that, according to the Ohio Revised Code 2921.29, it stated that no person who is in a public place shall refuse to disclose the person's name, address, or date of birth when requested by a law enforcement officer who reasonably suspects that person is committing, has committed, or is about to commit a criminal offense. Taking this into account, it could be debated whether Ms. Hancock was legally obligated to identify herself in front of the officers. But regardless of this, what happens next is unacceptable. When Ms. Hancock made it clear that she wouldn't be providing the officers with any more information, Officer Zellers promptly informed Ms. Hancock that she would be under arrest for failure to identify. However, Ms. Hancock retaliated when both officers attempted to place her in handcuffs and a scuffle took place. Officer Zellers initially pulled out his taser and threatened Ms. Hancock with it. But things took an outrageous turn when Sergeant Stanley decided to violently strike Ms. Hancock in her face numerous times. It goes without saying that this use of force was completely unnecessary and rather excessive.
Over a
Yes, over a sandwich. So you're making a bad decision over.
missing every day though. But you
Ma'am?
coming for me over a
Ma'am?
burger? Y'all, it's too much.
You're not leaving until you identify yourself.
Bruh, if you don't get the...
You better calm down.
I'm not giving you nothing. I already said it.
Okay, you're under arrest.
No,
Put your
I'm
hands behind your
not.
back. Put
No,
your
I'm
hands
not.
behind your back.
No, I'm
You
not.
are under arrest for failure to identify.
Don't
Put your hands.
Okay, my last
behind-
name is Hancock. I already
your
told
hands-
you that. I
Put
already
your
told
hands
you that.
behind your back.
No, I don't want to, for real. It's Latika. I'm telling you. Why would you do that? Okay, I'm saying okay.
Behind your back, you're gonna get tased.
Okay. I said okay.
Behind your back.
Sorry, wait.
Put
I said
your
okay.
hands
Okay.
down.
I'm gonna get down. Can I please just have my
Turn
shoes?
around and
Up
face the
against
car.
the
Well, I'm
car.
twisted.
Up against,
How?
up against. Turn around and face the car.
Oh my God. Why would you punch me? Why would you punch me? Look at my face. Why are you punching me? Why did
Okay.
Look at my mouth. Oh my God.
That's all right. She's stacked.
I know. I'm just gonna have to
Go on the side.
in the car.
My last. Look at my face. Why did you touch me? I didn't even hit you. I had nothing for my mouth, please. Why would you punch me like that?
$3.11.
Why? Why? You didn't need to punch
That's when you don't cooperate.
That was not
Just long she resisted.
Get your shoe.
I'm,
Get your shoe. Get your shoe.
where is it? I can't see it.
Throughout this encounter, it's to be noted that Ms. Hancock was not violent with the officers. She appeared agitated and definitely raised her voice, but there was no way that any physical force was needed to subdue Ms. Hancock. Certainly not the level of excessive force used by Sergeant Stanley. As a result of the punches thrown by Sergeant Stanley, it can be clearly seen that Ms. Hancock was bleeding from her mouth. It was later found that Ms. Hancock was left with a busted lip, loose teeth, a closed head injury, and a back injury. In the body cam footage, Ms. Hancock can be seen crying and complaining about the force used by Sergeant Stanley. She stated she didn't attack any of the officers and that there was no reason for her to be punched in the face like that. Regardless, EMS was called and Ms. Hancock was placed in the back seat of a patrol vehicle in the meantime.
Put your shoe on.
I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm sorry.
Didn't have to even be this way.
Can I just leave that one now?
No, you're going to jail.
Come on.
Please, can I go home?
Come on.
Okay. My name is Latika.
Latika, it didn't have to be this way, Latika.
I'm sorry, please.
It didn't have to be this way.
I want to go home. Okay. My mouth.
Yeah.
Do y'all give people stuff?
You
for
got to
their
call an
mouth?
ambulance.
I can't.
Seated.
Excuse me, sir.
Listen. Stop
Why
and
you
listen.
punch me
Stop
like
and
that? My
listen.
mouth hurts.
Stop and listen. Do you have any guns or knives on you?
Do I have a what?
Guns or knives on you?
No. My lip feels like it's busted or something.
It is. We're gonna
see you.
But I mean, like, is my skin on my lip hanging? Because it feels like it.
Nope.
My lip is busted, sir.
Butler
Like,
310, can you start a medic?
I don't have no.
Not emergency. Ma'am, it didn't even have to be this
I
way.
don't want to go, please.
You're going.
No, man.
You brought it to this.
Sit down till the medic gets here to see
I don't
you.
want to go.
You don't have a choice.
You just caused us to use force against you.
No, but you punched me on
did
your
you-
own will.
No, it's because you were
I didn't
resisting.
punch you.
You don't have
I
to.
didn't resist.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I'm a female. Look at my
It's
back.
all resisting. It don't matter what sex you are.
In the car. Stop arguing. This is not a debate.
Okay, I'm going. I'm gonna go. Sir, okay, tell him to stop because
in
it
the car.
hurts. I'm going to. Why are y'all so like this over a sandwich?
Close the door.
You
No.
As seen in the footage, Sergeant Stanley claimed that Miss Hancock was resisting, and that was why he punched her in the face. Miss Hancock promptly denied these claims and was clearly unhappy about the excessive force used against her. While Miss Hancock remained in the patrol vehicle, the officers searched her vehicle and found alcohol inside. This somehow gave Sergeant Stanley the right to accuse Miss Hancock of being drunk and suddenly claimed that he had smelled an odor of alcohol coming from her during the scuffle. Miss Hancock replied by saying that she had just happened to have some alcohol in her car and wasn't drunk at all. She also complained about the force used against her once again, and Sergeant Stanley basically shunned her by stating that her injuries weren't that bad and that his force worked in favor of the officers' attempt to place her in handcuffs.
Man, can I ask you a question? Have you had anything to drink today?
Huh?
Have you had anything to drink today?
I just cracked it open and I spilled half of it in the car.
Because I could smell
No,
when we were talking. It's not me.
Sobriety or whatever.
Sobriety?
Yeah.
It's not on me.
Sobriety, some shit, something.
Ma'am, we're going to treat you fair and we're going to treat you honest. You shouldn't have put us in that position.
But can I just...
No, unfortunately, when we have to make a physical arrest and we have to go hands-on, then you got to go to jail.
But you didn't even have to punch me.
Ma'am, you were pulling away from me.
You didn't have to do that. That really like my mouth.
Hey,
inside hurt.
did it work? Would you have rather been tased? Would you rather been tased?
I don't even know what my
Okay.
face looks like.
Well, it's not bad.
It feels like it hurt. Can you call the number for me so my brother can come get his car?
No, it's gonna get towed.
Right now, what's your address? Where do you live?
Eventually, medics arrived on the scene and Sergeant Stanley once again tried to justify his use of force by telling the medics that Miss Hancock initially resisted, so he punched her in the face, adding that it was better than being tased and it helped calm her down. This showed that Sergeant Stanley had no guilt or remorse for the force he used against Miss Hancock.
So we had one resist, and I punched her in the mouth. She busted her mouth open. So let's just put some gauze on it, wipe it up, and we'll get her to the jail.
Works for me. Grab some.
Now listen, are you going to cooperate, or do we have to fight you again to get you in the car? I want them to look at your mouth. To do that, we got to open the door. Matter of fact, just stay right there.
Can you come on this side?
No, we'll just come on this side. Okay? Can I put your seatbelt on you? Now, seatbelt's all jacked up now. Stay right there. They're
Can
gonna
you just come over here to be
No,
easier?
I don't want to fight with you again.
And nobody's trying to fight with you. You the one that aggressive. You the one punched me in my mouth. Tell me
Well,
now I
you're the
gotta
one
go
that
to
wouldn't
jail.
cooperate.
Anybody talking to you?
Well, I'm talking to you.
Well, who cares? Bye. Can you send a medic or you can close the door?
We try to be nice and polite and treat you with respect, and that's the way you go.
But can I do the whatever that I didn't pronounce right? Sobriety.
What's that going to do? We're not saying you're drunk on DUI. I just ask you if you got anything to drink today. You ready? How are you, sir?
My skin is gone.
I'll be honest, if it wasn't you two, I'd probably be angry, but
Well,
it is. So I'll-
she resisted, pulled away, and I punched her in the mouth.
Oh, well.
So she's mad now because I punched her in the mouth, but she would rather, could have got tased. But it worked. She calmed down. Well, she not calmed down. I'm the bad guy now. All right, you ready?
I know, because you wouldn't.
I don't want to open that door because she came out on me already.
All right, I'm gonna just stare
I'm
at the
not
auditor.
gonna fight you.
No, I'm not worried about that. I just want to clean the blood up off your face, okay?
Okay.
Take a couple, look
Yeah,
in your
can you
teeth.
do it without?
I just need to see.
You got a trespass notice for me? I don't have any more.
It does. Can't wait for all the ice over ready.
Okay.
Get that stuff ready.
While the medics checked up on Miss Hancock's injuries, Sergeant Stanley got busy writing the criminal trespass notice and also cited Miss Hancock for not having a valid driver's license. He then pulled out the open container of alcohol from Miss Hancock's vehicle and asked Officer Zellers to cite her for that too.
I'm gonna have a traffic ticket for you too, since you don't have a driver's license. Remember that piece of paper we just wanted to give you? Right here it is.
All right, so listen to me, okay?
And here's your open container in a motor vehicle.
What do you want to? Resisting, failure to identify.
I don't know if photo identifies what you want. You fail to provide information to avoid a criminal complaint.
Miss Hancock was eventually taken to jail, where she was charged with resisting arrest and failure to identify. She also received citations for driving under suspension and having an open container of alcohol inside a vehicle. Miss Hancock was later transported to the nearby hospital, where she spent the night for appropriate medical treatment as a result of all the injuries that she suffered from Sergeant Stanley's aggressive and unnecessary force. 2 days after this incident, Chief John Porter stated in a news conference that the two officers tried to de-escalate the situation with Miss Hancock, adding that, "We do not specifically train to punch in the face unless it's a defensive tactic in order for the officer to have some type of defense." It was also reported that Sergeant Stanley was placed on paid administrative leave while the police department attempts an investigation, and that there were several reasons Sergeant Stanley was placed on leave, including the amount of hate mail the department received after a bystander who captured the incident posted the video online. Meanwhile, Miss Hancock is being legally represented by Attorney Wright, who is calling for Sergeant Stanley to be fired from the police force and charged with assault. As of the date of this recording, no further updates have been provided by both the Butler Township Police Department and Attorney Wright. Sergeant Stanley still remains on unpaid administrative leave. Be sure to check out our previous video where we cover another outrageous police encounter